There are a lot of arguments for the existence of God, even here on YouTube. You have a lot of atheists who are arguing with Christians or Muslims or whatnot about whether this great deity exists at all. But I found that there are a lot of people who do believe in God, and I don't have to go into an atheistic argument every time I talk to someone about God. However, just because someone believes in God doesn't necessarily make it a very good thing. Now, let's be honest. We may think or try to place all the different gods of different religions into this one monotheistic God in our modern relativistic, inclusive age, but that doesn't work. Not with absolute truth, at least. So in this video, the question isn't, does God exist? But the question is, if God exists, what does it mean for you? You may believe in God, but why? What does that change about your life? How does God's existence affect you? I sat down with my friend Adam Kimmler just during this winter break in New Jersey and asked him this very same question. And he gave a very good answer, so here it is. Alright guys, I'm here with my friend Adam Kimmler, and we're going to be talking about what is really the truly important question when it comes to the existence of God. Adam?
Okay. Well, I think sometimes people ask the question, they ask me the question, why do you think God exists? I think a good response, and to anyone who might have that question, what you should really be asking is, if God does exist, presuppose He does exist, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for my life? Like, where am I in front of God in His eyes? I think that's the real question that should be answered. Because from that might, I guess, I don't know.
So,
I just feel.
So if an atheist came up to you and was like, why do you have to believe in a God? What would you respond to them? Like,
well, yeah, I would say, I guess I'd start off saying, well, let's suppose God does exist. What does that mean for your life? And then, I know they probably would say, well, I don't believe He exists.
right.
So, you might get a circularity there, but what I'd really start to go at the heart of the issue is if God does exist, He's laid out He's perfectly just. I think the best angle to approach someone who's doubting the existence of God is the idea of justice. God's perfectly just. Let's just assume He does exist and He does have this perfectly just law that He expects everyone to require. And ask them, do you consider yourself perfectly just? Are you perfect?
Mm-hmm. So you would say justice almost presupposes a God of justice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think justice exists without God.
Okay. All right. So basically, you're saying that the heart of the issue isn't so much this, because you'll see on the internet. I mean, tons and tons of arguments on, does God exist or does He not? You would say that's not the important question. The important question is what does that mean for your life?
Exactly. I think I guess I sort of see it. The real important question is not just what you theoretically believe,
right,
but what practically impacts your life. If God does exist, there's a practical implication for your life. God does exist, and He's perfect and holy, and you're not perfect and holy. What does that mean? I guess I would approach that quite before actually stating what I think it means. Just, what do you think it means? You have this perfect, holy God with a standard up here, and you fall here. What does that mean for you?
Now, and you would also say that it's not just an important question for the atheist to think about, because that's obvious. I mean, the atheist, either God doesn't exist for us, the answer is, well, then we just die and we're in the grave. But for an atheist, obviously it's important. But do you think it's also important for someone who does claim to believe in God?
Oh yeah, I think it's a universally important question. Everyone's going to have to answer that. If you do say, I do believe in God, what's that mean? What type of God is that? Because you think, if I definition, God is going to necessarily be perfect. He's going to necessarily be holy. You know what I mean? Because if God isn't, if God isn't perfect, if He's anything less than perfect, He's not God. Right?
Now, what I really liked about that interview was this emphasis on justice, that our justice system doesn't work without a higher deity. Think about it. We swear people in with the Bible. We, testify people via truth and nothing but the truth. You don't get that with relativism. But think about justice. Why should the judge justly? I mean, sure, it's his job, but I mean, he can get bribed and just, rule whatever he wants. People in the jury can just make up anything. It's what it's kind of it's becoming nowadays, but it wasn't originally institutionalized that way. No, in fact, people swear into the Bible because who else are you going to swear to? I mean, the judge is not perfect, the lawyers aren't perfect, the jury isn't perfect, but who is? By definition, this monotheistic God would be perfect. In fact, he would be perfect in justice as well. Justice, in many respects, presupposes the existence of God. My question really is to those who do believe in God. If you do believe in this God is a God of justice. He declares what is right, he declares what is wrong. So, he is right, he is ultimate righteousness. Obviously, we are not. We can tell just by our daily lives. I can tell that I am not just or righteous in any way because I sin. So to believe in a God is to necessarily believe that you are at odds with this God. If you know you are a sinner, or at least you know you do wrong, whether it's by your conscience or you read it in the scriptures that you are doing wrong, then you are at enmity with this very God you believe in. To believe in a God is a very dangerous thing. That's why, if you want to cop out, be an atheist. But in all seriousness, if you truly believe in God, you have to make some pretty solid decisions about truth. So if you believe in God, that's all well and nice, but that's not good enough for me. At least, not good enough for God. So there you have it. The more important question is not, does God exist? But if he does, what does it mean for you? Have fun with that. But of course, I guess a righteous God judging unrighteous people is not very important to you, but it might be soon, so think it over now. Alright, that's all I have. See ya.